So the push to bring high-speed rail to New York has not exactly been on the fast track, but there has been some progress, including last month's announcement that New York would be getting an extra $350 million worth of federal funding. That cleared the way for some upgrades at stations and tracks in Rensselaer, Schenectady, and Rochester. But those upgrades are actually just the first step towards very fast high-speed rail. Here to talk more about this is Senator Malcolm Smith. You know him. He is one of the biggest advocates of high-speed rail. He's a cheerleader, and here he is. Senator, how are you?
I'm doing very well, Liz. How are you?
I am well. So you actually were out in Illinois.
Out in Chicago, that's right.
Last week, and there was an announcement, you were there to participate, that there will be a study in Illinois for high-speed bullet trains.
That's correct. Governor Quinn, who is actually sent an invitation through me to our governor. He's looking for him to come on out there and visit. But he announced a $1 million grant, actually $1.2 million, that's going to do actually what our board here in New York should be doing, and that is to study how to finance high-speed rail and how to operate it. And so, you know, my hope is that the governor, and I actually had a conversation with Ken Adams, who's the commissioner of ESD today, and I suggested to him, I said, you know, that you have $130 million that you're going to be using towards economic development councils. I said the study for high-speed rail is only a cost of about $1.2 million, according to Chicago's numbers. I said, and it would show the impact that high-speed rail would have on all of New York State.
Okay, but well, hold on, though. Here's the thing, though, and Governor Quinn, according to this account at any rate, says he understands that just doing a study is the first step towards something that might take actually 50 years to accomplish. By the time 50 years rolls around, who knows what we might have? I mean, we might be, I don't know, if not monorails, then we might be, you know, moving in pods or something. Well, I mean, 50 years by this, it'll be obsolete by then.
Well, I think the governor's 50 years was a little over the top, but not here for New York. Remember, we have been designated as a very corridor that is going to be looking for high-speed rail in a very rapid way, no pun intended. But we also have gotten a tremendous amount of resources from Secretary LaHood, as you said from the outset.
Right.
And so we're a little further along than what the Midwest corridor is all about. And actually down in Chicago, the focus was on the three main corridors in this country. That is the Northeast Corridor, which is actually being led by Senator Gillibrand, Senator Lautenberg, Louise Slaughter, and then it was also the Midwest Corridor and also the West Corridor. So 50 years, I think, is a little out there. I'm sure it'll be a lot sooner than that.
You know, but you and I have talked about this, and I mentioned it. I mean, part of the problem is it's really a misnomer to call it high-speed rail. What we're looking at actually higher-speed rail. True high-speed rail would actually have to be put on new tracks, and I think that you and I have spoken in the past, well, why not in that median that runs down the middle of the thruway, for example?
That's correct. Well, for our estimates, we think for us it's 10 to 15 years in terms of the Empire Corridor, assuming all things are equal. And I believe that, yes, you do have the challenge of where the tracks will run, but it's going to have to be a designated track. What we just recently talked about, like Amtrak. Amtrak says their high-speed rail number for 15 to 20 years is going to cost about $117 billion. I don't believe that number.
That's a huge number.
Yeah, I don't believe that number is for New York State. The Empire Corridor, as I said, we're looking somewhere between 10 to 15 years. Maybe you're talking about $10 to $15 billion, and that number is a public-private number. It's not just all government.
Right, right. But still, I mean, it just seems, and also it's really unfortunate. I mean, you have situations where Illinois, not to say anything bad about Illinois, but is really getting out ahead of us. I mean, in terms of, I thought New York was supposed to be the Empire State, was supposed to be setting the agenda. Instead, we see this.
Well, no, we're the Empire State. Listen, Governor Cuomo has done a great job of putting us back as the lead state in the country, and that's why I wanted to extend the invitation to him to visit Illinois vis-a-vis my communication with Governor Quinn.
Right, right. Well, let me just switch tracks, pun intended there, for a second. And I want to ask you about the ethics deal that was announced today. I mean, obviously, there's been some ethics issues in your conference. Senator Kruger, we're still waiting to hear what will happen there. This is something that you will be able to vote for?
Yes, absolutely. I think the governor hit a home run. I think his disclosure piece, as you know, Liz, when I was majority leader a couple of years ago, I called for full disclosure for outside income. As a matter of fact, you know, I still say, even to get away from the distraction of clients and lawyers, is that we should be full-time, and this way you don't have any outside income. But that being said, I think the governor's bill goes a long way. I think it's exactly what we need to just bring that trust back. But the key thing is going to be who is appointed on that commission. It's going to be very important that you have the right people on on there that still shows the level of integrity that the governor is looking for and the transparency that I think the public needs.
Do you think actually there will be an ability on this thing to actually investigate anyone, to come to, or will it be just deadlocked? It seems to be so cumbersome and difficult to actually get to a point where you can investigate a lawmaker, much less recommend any charges out.
Well, no, I think the way it's written, and I'm still studying the bill, but from what I've read, you have to have, there's 8 members that have to agree to initiate an investigation,
right.
2 of which have to be from the same party or the same entity that's being investigated. And I don't think that's hard to come by. I mean, if you've done wrong, you deserve to be investigated. And that's why I go back to the governor's choice of having, 8 people that's from the legislature, 6 from his side, but at the same time, it's the selection of who is on that board
right.
that becomes very important.
Well, we shall see, of course, and just now we're seeing down in Washington, of course, there's a situation where,
right.
the House Ethics Committee has the same sort of bipartisan situation and might be looking into, Congressman Weiner did look into Congressman Rangel, a Democrat, so he charged partisanship. I don't know. It's all getting very cloudy around here, but in the meantime, high-speed rail
is still going forward.
Thank you very much, Senator
Thank you,
Smith.
Liz.